All right, so we have been waiting for some updates for Naughty Dog. We, of course, have heard and seen and have been teased that The Last of Us Part 3 is indeed in development, even though it hasn't been officially announced. But they're not really going to reveal much on that, we all know, until Intergalactic releases. But there's been a lot of question marks as to when will Intergalactic release, when will it drop, how long are we going to have to wait? Is it going to be like 7 years like The Last of Us Part 2 was? So many questions. And along with that, there's been a lot of backlash, which I just want to say most of it is silly. I think the first trailer was bad just because it wasn't a great trailer. I think the game will probably be great because every Naughty Dog game I have played in my life has been great. Some are better than others, but all have been great experiences. So I don't doubt that, but it wasn't a great put together trailer. But I think we got to hold on to our thoughts. And then all of the other stuff, all the political stuff, I'm just so tired of it. I just want to enjoy a game. I don't want to sit in the comment section and you always have those people who are showing up being like, wow, like these angry guys who are living in their mom's basements who can't get a life and are angered and live their whole lives angry and trying to seek vengeance on Neil Druckmann. So that's all been going on, but we have been waiting and seeing when will we hear more, when will we see more. We have some information now about some hirings that are happening over at Naughty Dog that give us actually a really good estimate as to when this game is dropping, and it's a lot sooner than even I probably thought it was going to be. So let's dive into it. So Naughty Dog has officially posted some hirings where they're looking at hiring people to help translate the game into different languages. They're doing localization now. That localization has begun with these new hires, and specifically for Intergalactic, they are hiring, outrightly so, to help localize Intergalactic into various different countries. And the reason why this is significant is because if you don't know how games work in game development, that this is often one of the very last things that a game will do in its development cycle. That when all of the pieces are pretty much together, are kind of set in stone, things are really trucking along, we're getting near the finish line, then you begin localization into other countries, other languages, and those types of things, which means that Intergalactic is actually in its final stages of development. If they're following the process that the vast majority of games do, Intergalactic is in the final stages of development, which is incredibly exciting because we don't have to have a super long wait like we did for The Last of Us Part 2. This game is coming relatively shortly, and we actually know from Naughty Dog and Neil Druckmann himself has said that they don't want to do what they did with The Last of Us Part 2 in previous games where they announce a game and people have to wait years and years and years and years before they finally play that game. That's not something that they want to do anymore. It's not a marketing strategy they have anymore. That they have outrightly said that what they want to do is they want to announce games, and they said this specifically after The Last of Us Factions 2 debacle, where they want to announce games when games are fairly close to starting to be finished, where they could be released sometime soon. And so it would make sense that localization would begin if we heard about this game around this time last year. They don't want to make us wait years and years for this, so it would make sense that it's coming relatively shortly. It's also why we haven't heard of The Last of Us Part 3. Again, it's not because they haven't been developing it. If they're following the same pattern of lying to fans like they did for The Last of Us Part 2 when they started developing that, they have been working on The Last of Us Part 3 ever since Part 2 released. They've been working on the story, coming up with ideas, working on it, and I 100% guarantee you, and all the insiders will tell you, that there is a team working on gameplay and all of the stuff for The Last of Us Part 3 right now. They're just not going to announce it because the game is probably not going to release for a few more years. They don't want to have all this hype and have that just fizzle out with years of continual development time, similar to what Wolverine's experienced, where they announce something way too early and people have to wait a long time. It just frustrates fans. So, Intergalactic, when will this thing be released if they are starting on localization, if they are hiring for these positions? Honestly, and this is shocking to me, this means that this game will probably release either late 2026, either late next year, or early to mid 2027, maybe fall 2027, but probably in the earlier range. That actually, if that's where they're at in the development cycle, they probably have about one more year of development before the game pops off and releases. And then depending on fully how far they are, maybe it's a year and a half, whatever. And that's incredibly exciting. And I don't think they'll be releasing it late 2026 next year. I don't think that's the slot that they'll go into, specifically because I think the big game that Sony wants around that Christmas time area is Wolverine. That we know that Wolverine's coming in the fall, sometime in October, November-ish. And so I think because of that, they are going to spread out Intergalactic's release, where it's not going to be around Wolverine, that it'll be sometime after. I don't think it'll be January, February kind of area. And I think Sony has another game releasing in March. So I actually expect that in summer of 2027, which is originally when it's close to when they were originally hoping that The Last of Us Part 2 to release. It'll be kind of like the big blockbuster for Sony in the summer that they'll drop. My guess is it'll release around there. Or it could release around fall 2027, but I think more likely they'll probably release the game for the summer. And what's exciting about this is I already felt very strongly that we are going to get a gameplay trailer fairly soon. There's probably one that's already done, like there was for Wolverine. And I think that we will for sure get that now, hearing this information, that we will get a gameplay trailer at the Video Game Awards this year. That come December of this year, watching the Game Awards, seeing what's going on, Naughty Dog will release a gameplay trailer, and I think at the end of that trailer, it will say on a title card 2027. I think that they will announce that it's releasing that year. I think that they will show us gameplay and get people hyped up for the game coming. And then along with that, you'll start to hear more and more murmurs about The Last of Us Part 3, where Naughty Dog will start to loosen their grip a little bit on some of it, like they have already kind of started doing, of letting things slip here and there. But it's incredibly exciting, and I think that it'll be well received. And of course, the original trailer, the story trailer, where it kind of didn't show us much of anything other than, okay, here's a world, here's what they're doing kind of a thing, that released at the Game Awards. That Naughty Dog and Jeff Keighley have a really great relationship, that The Last of Us complete remaster remake was announced during the Summer Game Fest, along with the Factions 2 game that eventually got canceled, and then Intergalactic was announced at the Game Awards. I fully believe, and I will be floored if we don't get a gameplay trailer with a release year title card at the end of it at the Game Awards. So I would hold on to your hats and expect to see that then, but this is exciting news that we'll be playing a brand new Naughty Dog game, not a remake, not a remaster. As much as I've loved those and they've held me off, I'm really chomping at the bit for a new game, a new world, a new IP. I'm really excited. And the thing too, as the Last of Us fan that makes me excited about this, is the closer we get to Intergalactic, the closer we get to hearing way more about The Last of Us Part 3. But with all that being said, I want to know what you guys think. Head down in the comment section down below. Let me know your thoughts. Are you excited for Intergalactic? Are you looking forward to diving into this world, into Naughty Dog trying out an open world kind of free roam game, which we know that this is, dealing with all these different cool themes, sci-fi, something they'd never really explored before? Are you excited for it? Do you believe the game is going to release in late 2026 or 2027, or do you think it's going to take longer? When do you think we will get that trailer for gameplay to get people hyped up and off of that mediocre trailer that they initially released that didn't tell us anything about the game? Let me know in the comment section down below. Like, comment, subscribe, all that junk, and I will see you guys in the next one.